if you're an agent out there, you know it can be a really lonely world. You feel like you're figuring out a lot of stuff on your own. You feel like you don't really have that support from your upline. My biggest month was, $28,000. I would say I came into the community thinking I had sales down. I came over and it was just, wow, completely different level.
This 19-year-old is on pace to make six figures this year, selling life insurance completely over the phone without a college degree. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down his journey, trying to figure out and navigate his first year as a life insurance broker and the lessons that he's learned that has taken him from the captive world to now on pace to helping a ton of agents grow and scale their life insurance business. So Christian, welcome to the channel, brother.
Appreciate it, Johnny. Thank you.
Happy to have you, man. This is cool, man, because you not only just started as an agent, we're going to be talking about where you're at right now, but take us back to the start, bro. You get into the industry, you start captive. Dude, I mean, you make more than most people come out of college with. Talk us through your start as a life insurance agent in the captive world, dude.
Yeah, man. So basically, I went in on I just recently got out of another sales job. Actually, is where it started. Pest control, door to
Oh, you
door.
did pest? I didn't even
Yeah.
know that.
So yeah, I just turned 18. Same month I turned 18, I graduated high school. I moved over to Virginia to do pest control from Missouri, and had cops called on me a couple times. A dog attacked me, guns pulled on me. Face to face just really was not it. But sales, I still had a I was still very interested in sales. I've seen, Johnny I've been following forever. Ton of other people online too. But I went in originally into a position where I was getting paid 20 an hour to sell insurance captively for, are we saying companies or no?
Uh, yeah, that's fine.
That I sold captively under an agency with American Amicable. There I sold 118 grand, but again I was getting paid $20 an hour, and it was just wasn't getting paid what I was worth, so to speak. Now, I had been following Johnny a long time. I reached out to him finally, way longer than I should have, and he encouraged me to go broker route just because the upside potential with not only generating your own leads, because I've worked some pretty bad leads, but just taking your business to the next level, getting paid what you're worth as that business owner, as that marketer, as that salesperson. um, really, really just took me to the next level in income.
I love it, bro. Dude, so you started there, right? So you really start growing. Like, why the life insurance space? What attracted you to becoming a life insurance agent?
It was more sales than anything at the start. I had just graduated high school. It's 2024 currently. It was 2023 when I graduated high school. So originally the money and college definitely just wasn't the route for me. I wasn't really good at school at all, to be quite honest with you, in high school. But sales definitely sounded like a position where it's like, okay, I can learn a skill and I can generate income. And I really was in it for the income while I was no, at the captive agency. And one day on the line, on the phone, I had talked to somebody who was a man actually, who just started crying after he told me a story about him putting his wife, like taking his wife off a ventilator. And then it was like, okay, not only can I generate income from this, but I can truly just help people out and put them in a better position. So believing in the product also is something that just allowed me to sell at a much higher volume.
Yeah, it's super important, dude, especially in sales. If you believe in the product that you're selling, if you believe that you're genuinely helping people, yeah, the money's gonna come, dude. But the more people you actually help, the more that you're gonna get paid at the end of the day. And that's the beauty of sales, right? You're actually genuinely giving them, you're helping them overcome their own beliefs, you're helping them overcome their own concerns at the end of the day, right? And so, and to be able to help the person, I always tell people you got to overcome the person, and the concerns and the objections or whatever you want to call them will go away, right? But if you overcome the person, you really genuinely are there to help them, you're gonna win, right? So you sell at a high clip. What was the thought process behind going from that to the broker world?
Yeah, so it's I actually I watched you a lot and I saw just how you were talking about how some agencies, some IMOs can really stunt your growth and really
Yeah.
just like not really allow you to make it to that next level.
Mm.
So that really attracted me and I learned that my agency was getting 175% commission and I was getting $20 an hour, right? Which I'm not complaining. I mean, I was 18, they offered me a position. I'm grateful. However, it was just like, okay, I'm worth more than that. I
Hmm.
know I can learn and I know I can just focus and take honestly just mentorship and be coachable from someone like Johnny who's seriously just Johnny's unbelievable. Most amazing person I've ever met in my life, religiously, spiritually, and as a business owner. Um, yeah, so I mean, trusting you and just like you walking me step by step the entire way allowed me to just really create and run my own profitable, very profitable business.
Dude, so what are some really challenging thing or roadblocks or things that you like going from the captive side to actually becoming your own agency, right? And actually becoming a fully independent agent and business owner. Like what are some things that you didn't see right away that you had to kind of overcome or face um throughout that transition?
That's a really good question. First thing is just being able to spend the right amount of money, right?
Hmm.
With that,
Scared money
it's
don't
like
make money, right?
exactly. And this is what I loved about school, and I went through the entire thing just because I wanted to pick every single last piece of knowledge out of there. But one of the on the tracker page, this amazing tracker that you have provided into the community, it's named it's named Stop Running on Emotion, Start Running on Logic, right?
Yeah.
And with that, it's like, okay, it can be emotional to spend more money to make more money
Mhm.
if you don't know what your numbers are, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't know what my numbers are. If I spend more, I don't know if I'm going to lose money or if I'm going to make more money,
Mhm.
right? But if you know that every time I spend $150, I make $900, or if every time I spend $200 even, or even $300 even, let's say you're a decent salesperson and not the best, but decent, $300 you make 900. It's like spending more money is only going to make you more money,
Yeah.
right? And that tracker just really breaks down every single possible number. You're talking about cost per acquisition, lifetime value, cost per lead, cost per presentation, all of the above. Just really tracking how many leads you're doing, what's the percentage of those leads you're actually closing. Just really every number to know as a business owner because you wear three different hats: the marketing hat, if you're generating your own leads, the business owner hat, and the salesman hat. Right. And as a business owner hat, you need to be able to look at the numbers, know what they mean, and say, hey, it's a it would be a dumb decision not to spend another $150 to make another 900.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. But as far as like, because that's super important, right? Like for agents out there that are going to be generating their own leads, you have to really know your numbers. You have to really understand if I do X or I want to get to 20K a month, right? I want to get to 10K a month. I want to get to 8 grand a month, right? You hitting 8 to 10K a month consistently. Um, you got to know your inputs to be able to get there, right? And so you can have this goal, but if you don't know how to get there, it's just air, right? It's just dust. I might as well say I want to make $1 million a month. Like it really is kind of like irrelevant if you don't have any proof to back it up, if you don't have the numbers to back it up. And honestly, if you're running on emotions, that's one of the scariest. That's one of the scariest things that you can run on. Honestly, is just emotions because they're so fleeting and they come and they go so fast. One small thing could change your emotions, right? But as far as you, right, going from the being a captive agent to becoming a broker, right? There's like contracting things you had to go through. There's
Oh
comp
yeah.
levels. There's all those things. Talk about that, dude, because I know there's people watching. I have a lot of people reach out from the captive world. Maybe they're at a PNC shop. Maybe they're at a an LOA or free lead program. They're wanting to go and actually become their own independent business owner. There's the same thing as you, right? They know they're meant for more. They know they can, their time is worth more than that. They know they're worth more. But talk through that, man. Like some of the things that you learned along the way transitioning to that.
Yeah, so one, contracting. So all my licenses were provided for me, minus the just-in-time states that I bought as a broker so far. But yeah, I mean, all contracting was done for me as an LOA. Everything was done for me. Transitioning into contracting, at first it was very frustrating. It's because it's
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, I'm just twiddling my thumbs here. I have to wait 2 weeks in order to even sell. I just want to
Yeah.
sell. But as soon as you're in, I mean, you're in and you're good to sell. You're given your writing numbers, generate those leads, and you sell. But one thing I've noticed that other people have gone through is they're getting low composition, right? So I obviously went from no commission based structure to 100 to 115 to up to 120 now, and it's I see people at 60 and they're buying their own expensive cold leads, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe I found on my first try Johnny, somebody that's going to teach me how to one, look in the right places, look at the right IMO, that really has your best interest in mind, but
Yeah.
also how to profitably get leads and close them. So
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest roadblocks, I think, was just like, okay, I need to make decisions on what softwares to get, what IMO to choose, and I don't know what commission structure is good,
Yeah.
right? And then I luckily, thanks to Johnny, I got in on my first try and I just got into the right position.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that you want to look at as a like when you're transitioning to the from the captive side to the broker side. Number one is you want to get at least 100% commission, right? 90 to 100%, I think is going to be really good, and not just that commission structure, but like a nice like on level products. You're getting this because what happens is when you come into the industry, they'll say, hey, you're at 70% comp, right? And so once you sell a policy, you don't know the difference between guaranteed issue, graded, modified, blah, blah, blah. And so you look at your commission statements, and that is different than what your calculator said because you said you're going to get a 70%, but the reality is you're getting a 55%. So graded and modified, you're probably going to get a 10% under what they're saying. So if it's 100, you're probably going to get an 85 to 90. And then if it's guaranteed issue, right? GI is what we call it. That's going to be way lower too, right? That's probably going to be, I would probably guess that it's going to be half of what they say that you're going to get, right? Or like 30% less than what they say you're going to get, right? So these are all different factors that come into play because when you're an agent and you don't know these things, it can be really challenging. I remember my first commission statement as an agent, right? They told me I was going to get this amount of comp. And then I was like, cool, I just made $1,800. And then I look at my commission statement and I look at the deposit. I'm like, they only deposited 900. So I called up the carrier right away. I was like, oh, you guys messed this up. And they're like, no, on that product, it's lower. And so these are things that you have to get around people who understand, who know these types of things, right? And I think that's why it's so valuable to have a community, right? And I want you to talk about your experience of that, but I personally think it's so powerful to get around a community, a mastermind of people who are constantly innovating, constantly understanding and knowing things. Right when news drops, right, prosperity's gone, we know instantly because there's people that are looking at that stuff and you share the information and what comes around goes around, right? So the more giving that you are to the community, the more that you're going to get out of it, right? So you've been really involved, you've been plugged in. I mean, you and I are going to be doing stuff now on a bigger spectrum because you joined the community, right? That probably wouldn't have opened up if you didn't join the community. But talk about like how powerful like having people uh people to go through this whole journey with, dude. Like how
There's
powerful
no
for you.
there's no dollar amount that you can put on the community. Like there's seriously not. If you're an agent out there and it's like you'll if you're an agent out there, it can be a really lonely world, right? And just you feel like you're figuring out a lot of stuff on your own. You feel like you don't really have that support from your upline. Everybody doesn't know what they're doing type of deal,
Yeah.
which hence makes sense when you hear the statistics, 92% of people failing within 12 months.
Yeah.
But I would say I came into the community thinking I had sales down, right?
Mm,
As my biggest month was, $28,000 over at my last place, the captive agency. I came over and it was just wow, a completely different level. Um, yeah, and I related it a lot to sports once I figured out like, hey, even the top people, they're still practicing. I remember on 4th of July specifically, the only people role playing on that day that I saw was Johnny, Max, and Austin, all sold at a very high clip, and it was just like, okay, I'm gonna change the way I'm going about this now. Role play 2 times a week outside with a bunch of people that want to actually, and get better and improve their skills, right? And so that's just the sales side, and there's 5, 6 trainings a week that I make sure I plug into because you can never stop learning,
hmm.
right? And let's say there's no perfect salesman. You can always continue to get better, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen that just from people that seriously have sold a lot of insurance and consistently sell a lot of insurance. They're constantly training, constantly getting better. Surrounding myself, because you wear 3 hats again, that's the sales side. Elijah being around somebody who's seriously put a lot of money into marketing. He was
Hmm.
just talking to me about a specific number, but seriously, just an unreal amount of money into marketing. And it's just like A to Z. You can go to him, and I learned marketing within what was it, 60 days? And I
Yeah.
was running my ad account by myself. Within 60 days of just picking his brain and going to all of the marketing calls, just grabbing every piece of information I could get, that I'm now running an ad account by myself. Now, that might have taken Elijah 3 years to learn on his own, right? And maybe a lot of money and mistakes, but do you want to pay for money and mistakes, or do you want to pay money to essentially time travel, which is
Yeah.
is what the community allowed me to do. Sales side, business owner side, and marketing.
Yeah, there's so many unknowns and unknown factors that are in the any business that you start, but especially the insurance side, because if you're newer or even if you're coming from the captive side and you've never been independent, there's like the insurance learning curve of how commissions are paid out, right? You hear one thing, you hear another thing, blah blah blah. I watch all these internet people and YouTube people, but like what is actually true? Number one, number two is you go from the insurance side, then you also have the sales side, then you have the marketing side, then you have the business owner side, right? And on top of that, you have to try to manage all these things and expectations, and how do I make sure that I'm writing good carriers that are true social security billing? How do I make sure that the leads are getting, like, I'm generating them at a good cost? What's the cost per acquisition supposed to look like? What's my dial to contact rate supposed to look like? Contact to presentation rate to closing rate to placement rate. Like, there's so many different factors that now dude, we've built it out, helping over like over 120 150 people, whoever however many people have come in. Now we literally have the exact numbers that you need to hit. If you want to make this amount of money, you need to do X, Y, Z, right? Spend 750 to 1,000 bucks on ads a week, right? So on and so forth. And I think these are things that when you step into the industry, yeah, it's not just a sales training. It's not just a marketing, like marketing's going to fix all the problems, because you could have great sales and you can have great marketing, but you're going to get burnt out if you don't do it with other people, right? And there could be a $50,000 mistake that I had. You could get hit with that, right? And I don't, I like, that's what I was sharing. Like, I want to share with people and I want to help people with is navigating this industry that is how can you tell what's true, what's not, right? And what's cool about the community is it's not like the telesales mastery program is not like we're not asking for your writing numbers, right? You stay at the agency or IMO you're at, right? But then what's most important is you're getting the, like, we act as if you're the upline. We act as if we are like the person, your mentor in the business. Yeah, we're not going to receive overrides, but like you pay for our expertise and knowledge, and we plug you in to a proven system, A to Z blueprint, and you get everything that I know, Max knows, Elijah knows, so on and so forth, right?
I want to speak on that too, because it's like it was so weird. Nobody's making money off of me, but everybody was so engaged and just wanted everybody to win. including myself. Right? So as soon as I got my first sale, everybody knew that I was just hopping onto the broker side. I can't remember if it was you, Johnny, or Max that pulled me on a call. It's like, okay, this is how you're going to get paid. This is your commission. This is what this company advances. This is what's going to hit your bank account. And by the way, you only spent this much money to do that. Right? And I didn't even have to ask for that. Somebody pulled me on a call. And that's just the
Mhm.
power of the community, honestly. It's like everybody just wants to see everybody win, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
And that's what we try to build, right? When I was really thinking about how do I want to build this and create the infrastructure of this, I never wanted to be that guy that's like, hey, give me your contracts, right? You have to join my agency to be able to get this, right? Because you want to stay at your agency, totally cool. Let me help you, right? Let me actually give you the guidance, the resources to be able to actually win and succeed at a high level, right? And to transparently, right, the more that you win, the more case studies and testimonials that I have, and the easier it is for more people to come inside the community and really get helped and get paid, right? At the end of the day, that's what's really the most important. So let's go on to the sales side, right? So you said you were a good salesperson, but then you quickly realized that there's a lot of things that you can get better at. What are some of those things?
Oh my gosh, upfront objections. It's just, oh my gosh, the first 30 seconds is so important. It really is, and just being able to overcome those. And it's easy. Also just goes into tracking numbers, but it's like it's easy to get discouraged during the intro just because you're aiming for a small number to actually push into a presentation, 30 to 40%, right? And it's like, okay, more people than not aren't getting into presentations. But if you do everything properly and overcome those end objections properly, it's like your numbers are going to work. At that point, it turns into a numbers game.
Yeah.
But really just hammering those front end objections was really great. And also the structure of the script. So this is a one call close script. This is a one call close demographic, final
Yep.
expense that I focus on. And you really just grab every last piece of information you need. That way you're so confident by the time you present numbers. It's, hey, go ahead and circle which option makes the most sense to leave behind to your family. Which one did you choose? Okay, where are we mailing it out to? Right, because we're grabbing and if you haven't already, like Johnny, I believe you send out the script for free, literally on your
Yep.
DMs. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you
Give
want to
me the
look
word
at that,
script and I'll literally send it over to you.
exactly. And I believe I did that before I actually joined the community because I wanted to try something new on the script. My
I love
last
it.
script used to be 28 pages, 15 minutes rapport required at the beginning, 15 minutes of rapport required at the end, required storytelling. And it's like, yes, that can be good, but it depends, right? And it really 15 minutes of rapport is not necessary. I learned that very quick too.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And really that so here's the deal with that. It's like I got a script that works and people produce 500K plus on. Now, I brought my call recordings to the call reviews, and when I was doing bad, people tore it apart. It was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't think they're being mean to me. They're not making money off of me. They're not benefiting from me changing my ways or not." Right? It was like, "Okay, I'm genuinely going to fix this and let's see how I can do." Right? And then one sale a day turned into three a day, right? And then you can just scale from there, ridiculous, like a ridiculous amount.
So you get into the industry, you're as a broker, right? What are some things that were really challenging for you right away as far as like scaling, maybe scaling the ad spend or staying consistent? Like what are some things that you struggled with right away? Because I think that this is common for new agents that do come into the industry. What are some of those things that maybe you were challenged on before and now like you've really been able to overcome that's helped you succeed at a high level doing 10, 15, what, 18,000 is your best
Yeah.
one, something like that, which is
Yes.
awesome. So what's that look like for you?
So my biggest regret, I would say, and probably the most difficult thing was scaling from $50 a day to 100 a day. Right? Because it was just, and I remember you pulled out the whiteboard and just like did an entire map of like this is what is going to happen when you spend more money because your numbers say so.
Yep.
So my numbers made sense, and the decision was to scale. The number set to scale. So that was probably the most difficult thing, but it
Yeah.
worked, right? So I went from my first month spending $50 a day, optimized some things on the marketing side. Got 4 sales my first month. The first month was very slow. Spent more, optimized the ads a little bit. That's I don't want to confuse anybody, but then I tripled my sales, right? And like quadrupled my AP just from spending more. So that was probably the most difficult thing. On the sales side, definitely closing. I feel like something like a lot of people really struggle with is closing. And
Mm.
that's something Max has just, I could talk for hours on that. That's something Max has really hammered into me. Johnny's really hammered into me. And that ultimately we practice 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah. We do practice that a lot, and it's just it's funny because I don't know how to like say this, and it's hard for me to like say it like that, but a lot of people, they say they have sales training at their company. They say they have this like the great community aspect, and I maybe they do, right? I haven't seen a ton that do. Some really do, right? But most of the time, the sales training is just not that good. The marketing side is non-existent. The culture is just not really there. It's kind of like that. Of course, that's why you're not succeeding, right? Not only do you not just have great sales training of people who actually have sold top 1% of the industry, but also the culture is not great. You're not actually having a group of top producers, a culture of top producers of people winning. And I see that, and it hurts because I'm like trying to tell them, and it's hard. But that's just the reality, right? The reality is most agencies, and the reason why most people fail out of this industry is because they don't have that support. They don't have people to hop on Zoom and dial with, right? And actually close deals with, or they're a new agent. They don't have the support that they need. Their new agent trying to close their first policy, and they don't have people to hop on Zoom with them right there, right now, right or right then, in that moment, right? To be able to help them literally close the deal on a deal that they're not going to make money on as an
Exactly.
override, right? And so it's creating this infrastructure, creating this culture that when like on Mondays we go back end objections. On Tuesdays we do call reviews and role plays. On Wednesdays we're doing front end objections. On Thursdays we're doing really marketing and training up on the marketing side, really dialing in your creatives and how to test and how to create winning ads, create high quality leads. And then on Friday, just like a community and a culture call Q&A with me, right? And so it's really creating the infrastructure and having it in place. So an agent, all they have to do is plug into the system, do the work, spend the money that we say to spend, and you will make the money that you want to make.
Yep. And you learn as you go. And one thing that I learned a lot from was your business audits on Fridays as well.
Yeah.
Because Fridays, it's like, okay, it's a lot of business talk, would you say, on Fridays?
Yeah.
It's like what does the business actually look like? Any business related questions. Sending you my entire tracker with just every single last number tracked religiously on there. And you breaking that down is like, okay, this is the numbers we need to focus on. This is how you do it.
Yep.
Or your numbers make sense, go ahead and spend more,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's huge on Fridays as well.
Yeah, it's super important. So, dude, I want to pivot this just summit like you've been in the industry how long? A year now, something like that.
A year and 4 months it's been.
Yeah, so you've been in the industry a year and 4 months. You've done a lot of different things. What is your advice to agents wanting to go from the captive side to the broker side, and why should they even consider that?
That's a really good question. Um, the reason why I got into sales in the first place was because I wanted to be paid what I was worth.
Mm-hmm.
So that plays a huge part of it. But two of it, and there's a lot of people out there like this. I've always had a dream to be a business owner, right? And I that's what I'm going to be. That's what I will be, and that's where I'm on the path to be. And currently am honestly just like not as big as I want it to be yet, and it will get there. But yeah, just do you know what you want, right? And if you want it, go get it. That's what I would say. And that decision wasn't that easy for me. I mean, Johnny knows that. He walked me through that entire process, really just Johnny convinced me to do it, to take that next step. So, um,
I would
yeah,
say I
but I
pushed you. I think it's. I would say that when you and I had our first conversation, I knew that you wanted something bigger for your life, but you didn't know that you didn't believe that you could yet, or you didn't know exactly what the path actually looked like. And I like to use this analogy, right? It's kind of like, um, it's kind of like driving in the dark, right? When you're driving, you can't see anything ahead of you, right? All you can see is what the lights show in front of you. But all you have to do is just keep driving and the path will be shown to you, right? I was driving my wife and I we went stargazing last night, right? Trying to see the northern lights. I guess the northern lights are showing up different places. So we go stargazing and we're on this like pitch black road. And so we're driving and I can't see, but all I can see is just like maybe a quarter mile ahead of me, and that's pretty much it. But as I go, the path continues to show itself, show itself, show itself. So I don't actually like run into anything, right? And I don't crash. And I think it's the same thing in the insurance space or just in business in general. You're not going to know what the end path looks like. You don't know what 15 to 20 minutes away looks like. You know what two and a point, like a quarter to a half a mile ahead of you. That's all you can see. But the only way you continue to see what the next step looks like, the next step opens up after you actually walk that or drive that quarter mile, half a mile, right? Then you can see what that actually looks like. So it's all about taking the first step because the people who win in the industry, they're not afraid to take a step and realize they messed up, but they adapt quickly and they change things very quickly and adapt as they need to go, right?
exactly. Yes. One last thing on that as well, just what advice I'd give to a captive agent. Don't don't jump at the first opportunity you have when somebody gives you the I guess the opportunity and the dream to become this insurance agent and make this get this Lamborghini, buy that yacht, whatever it is. I would say get a mentor, right?
Mhm.
And that was huge for me, not because I paid for those mistakes, but I've seen so many people come into the community that didn't come from a captive agency,
Yeah.
and they've seriously struggled very very hard in the industry until they found Johnny,
Yeah.
right? And that's one thing I would recommend. You're either gonna pay for your I guess pay for your mistakes in money or and time, honestly, because that's probably the biggest piece. Or you can find somebody to mentor you and walk you through exactly seriously to what not to do to avoid those huge mistakes that you can make in this industry because they're very possible. They happen often, 92% of the time.
Mhm.
One of the biggest things was just finding a mentor, and that was Johnny, just to walk me through the entire correct path.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, dude, comes down to you. You are extremely coachable. You're very mature for being 19. You have a long-term vision, which most people have TikTok brain. We always laugh and joke
Right?
about it, but people have TikTok brain, and it's just like they're not. It just instant gratification when to win to truly do big things. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to go through challenging times. You have to be willing to go through times of earning or learning rather than earning, right? Because you know that as you build the skill set, as you get good at sales, as you get better at marketing, as you skills stack, you're going to have a high six to even seven figure, eight figure skill set, but it comes down to skills. And I think that's something that you've always portrayed. And I think that you're going to do amazing things, right? Whether we do stuff or not together in the future, which I hope so, right? I think
Yes,
it's
for
the
sure.
biggest thing is for you to continue on with the long-term vision and thinking through that, always be coachable, because that's all what you always done. And I think that's why you've seen such success at a high level. I always tell you that you are like light years ahead of where I was when I was 19, right? When I was 19, I just failed my first business and was trying to figure it out. And I was making 25, 30 grand a year at Starbucks, right? Now you're able to get into a place where you're able to get to a six-figure a year income, but more importantly, like build the skill sets, build the like have the resources to go out in 5 years to be making $1 million a year, right? That wouldn't be absurd or crazy at all, right? So, I yeah. So if there's people, if there's agents wanting to reach out to you, just wanted to pick your brain, get advice from you, or even like kind of get some input of how to go from captive to broker, or just like a new broker, or a person that's watching this right now that's not going to college, or maybe a college dropout, and they know that that's not it, but they want an uncapped potential of making money. How can they reach out to you and get some advice from you, bro?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. My username is young dot underscore dot winners.
Let's
Little
go.
bit cringy, but I'm trying to, definitely get a following there of just I really see the power of a community, and the more young people that have come in. There's been a couple more 19-year-olds I think got a little bit inspired of my story that came through the
Yeah.
community. But the more young people around, that's amazing for me too. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, guys, if he can do it, right, as a 19-year-old, you can do it too, right? Maybe you have a family and you're trying to make it, right? We've helped people in that realm. We've helped people 19 years old trying to find their way in the whole industry, going from captive to broker. So there's so much more than just the sales and the marketing side. There's the community side. There's the people who you can actually plug into, ask questions. You get the support. We have a Slack chat where you get real time support, right? From me and other top producers as well. So I make this video because, and we do these, like I do this interview because I just want to showcase with you the power of getting around, surrounded with top 1% agents that can take you further than you can ever dream of. So if you love this interview, subscribe right now to the channel, share this with a friend if you found it valuable. And if you absolutely love this one, I know you're going to love this interview right here. So click on this and I'll see you guys then.